Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the vision talk by Nivruti Rai, Country Head, Intel India, beg your pardon, and Vice President, Data Center Group, Intel Corporation.
Good morning, everyone. I must tell you that it's a great honor to be here. I can honestly tell you, I have met many engineering country heads. I've met engineering graduates. But I'll tell you, the people that are sitting here, the members for IESA, the participants, the startups, our dignitaries from METI, from STPI, and all my other industry partners. From the bottom of my heart, I believe this is one of the most intelligent set of people coming together today for this event. And I will tell you that I'm not in a perfect state of my energy. Just 2 weeks ago, I went through a major surgery, but I did not want to miss coming here because this is an opportunity for me to come together with you and sign up for something big. Bigger than me, bigger than you. It's for our country, it's for the world. I truly believe the stage we are in, the need is to drive innovation, but to drive with scale, which means we have to work together in a way that we drive the global economy. My goal is not just to look at the $2.5 trillion economy we are. My goal is not just to look at doubling our growth, 5 trillion in the next few years, but how to fuel the Industrial Revolution 4.0 for the world from India. And that is why I'm here, because if anybody can do, this group can. So with that, I want to share, if I can get the flipper, please. I did put together a few set of foils, because I do believe that history teaches us a lot. So my very first foil is showing you a little bit of history of several thousand years ago. What I want to highlight is look at how we have been driving innovations around the world. Whether it was finding fire, learning how to cook food, whether it is, agriculture, whether it is steam engine. If you remember, Industrial Revolution started with United Kingdoms with steam engine. What happened with steam engine? Locomotives, trains, all of that infrastructure got created. Then what happened? Look at United States. They drove agricultural-driven economy, but the country was very large. So what did they do? They focused on communication. Graham Bell, phones, then electric machines, Tesla, Nikola Tesla. Again, Europe emerged with electricity, Faraday, Ampere. Germany, France, UK. Then Japan with manufacturing. How fantastic Japan's manufacturing process were. The quality was. The Toyotas, the Hondas started ruling the world. What I want to highlight with this is every time an innovation was driven, what it did, it created an ecosystem of innovations around it. So let's talk about agriculture, and I said US. Irrigation became an innovation. Now produce increased. How do we increase trade? Movement from one part to the other. United States was a very large country. Movement became, an innovation. So what it happens is one innovation drives an ecosystem of innovations. I want to also tell you, over the last 2.5 decades, while I very proudly called out Japan for driving a lot of manufacturing-driven economy, do you know that over the last 2.5 decades, they've hardly seen any economic growth? They have stayed flat. Why? Because while they were busy driving excellence, and to tell you truly, that's part of their culture also, they drive to excellence. They missed out on internet-driven economy. They missed out on what I believe is a digital-driven economy. Now they are shaping up. I begin to see, 1% GDP kind of growth. But the time now is to look at how do we, as India, lead the Industry Revolution 4.0, which is a step beyond the internet economy, which is digital-driven. That was the whole intent of showing you this, is how a particular driver of innovation creates an ecosystem of innovation around, and then, and only then, you can be leading the revolution that that industry is driving. A very interesting mathematical equation on productivity. If, and this is more for fun, guys, if 1% efficiency is increased each year, every day, 365 days, your productivity can grow up to 37.8. It's a simple equation, 1.01 raised to 365. However, if your productivity reduces by 1%, you end up almost a zero towards the end of the year. I'm not saying this is what happened to Japan, but this is what happens when you don't stay with the flow. It is so important to be looking outside also, not be just internally focused. What is it that the rest of the world needs? What is it that the rest of the world is gearing towards? And therefore, while this industrial revolution is about digitization, it's built on internet, but what it needs is a collaboration across the globe. Where does the collaboration begin? At least within our country, it has to begin with academia partnering with industry, industry partnering with government, government partnering with the consortiums, looking at business development. Unless all of us come together, this dream of leading the world is not going to happen. Each one of us, I have grown up in a multinational company. However, I was just talking to our eminent guest, Sri Gopal Krishna. My entire family is based off government employment. So I know how government functions, and I know what strength they have. Similarly, academia has a certain strength, but if you look at academia to drive a product development, I'm sorry, they can drive a tech readiness, they can drive a fantastic product design, but to look at product manufacturing, product scale, you have to look at industry. Leading the development, you have to look at policies, what kind of support you need. You have to have government partnership. And then in the end, you have to create value out of it, so you have to think business. So the time now is all of us to come together. So often, I've been in forums where multinationals are treated as, oh, you're my stepchild. Let me look at the Indian companies. That's not what the need of the hour is today. If Intel is based in India, it is Intel India. Therefore, the need of the hour is all of us to come together and create this 37.8 additional productivity that the country and the world needs. I've already talked a little bit about 4.0. I want to tell you some of the things Rajesh already talked about what are some of the technologies that we must invest in. And I'm going to build this foil. Some of the technologies, I've listed are like blockchain, like cloud, edge. Some people call edge as fog also. 5G. So many analysts are looking at 5G as an opportunity to literally double the world economy and most certainly double India's economy or triple India's economy in the next decade or two. I also believe that our country will benefit from what is called gig economy. We are limited by space. We are limited by infrastructure. So I really believe gig economy is something that should and will thrive in India. I also believe that in India, growing up, I'm a woman, but even despite being a woman, my parents would push me into doing science and technology and engineering and math. If I was saying I'm interested in law, my dad said, oh, that's not for smart girls. That's not for intelligent girls. It's like, law is meant for people who cannot do math should do law. So I know that India houses smart technology, smart mathematicians, smart analysts. And therefore, I believe that the data analytics, which is honestly the critical part of AI, India has an opportunity to contribute significantly towards the world. What I did now is I showed you some of the technologies that I do believe we will have to invest as a startup, as a course curriculum in our academia, or as an MNC, or as a policymaker driver. Some of these technologies need to be thought through. What I want to tell you is, what are some of the leading technologies I as Intel, or you all as participants for IESA or members for IESA, need to absolutely focus on now? First one is AI. I have partnered with the government, and we have come up with a concept, first of its kind, of public-private partnership called ICTAI, International Center for Transformative AI. What is the goal? The goal is, while AI seems to be a buzzword, everybody is talking AI and saying, oh, AI is going to double the world economy, AI is going to do this, AI is going to change the world. I honestly believe not everybody has full understanding. There was an analysis done by some professors in Wharton, very many CEOs. Listen to this, what the outcome was. 80% CEOs believed AI is the technology for the future. However, 1/3 of them did not know either AI or how it's going to be used or how it's going to be monetized. 1/3 of them knew the buzzword, knew a little bit of technology, but were skeptical. Still, the flow is AI, I'm with AI. Only 30% of them truly knew AI. So it is very important for us to understand what AI is, drive intellectual property, drive R&D for AI. Not just, so AI has two kinds of development, use case and actually building AI engines. So we need to contribute in both, not just be the user, not just be the service provider, but actually be creating AI solutions. So it's absolutely essential we drive R&D, we drive IP, we drive training. While, I'll tell you honestly, a lot of people think AI is a black box. I will tell you, if you are a programmer, if you are a data analyst, and if you understand the computer logic and memory, you can be an AI developer. It is not as complex as we think, but we need to understand what is AI. It's nothing so new. It has been in the works for a very long time. So what changed? Why is it a buzzword now? It's a buzzword now because the compute capability has increased significantly. The memory capability with the kind of memory we are working on, you'll have terabytes of memory in a small pen drive. That's the amount of memory capability we have. So that's what changed. We have to leverage AI to create use case, however, to also create value. This is where the whole process that with this PPP we hope to accomplish. Our connectivity in 5G. In old days, people used to say geography defines the destiny of a city, state, country, whatever have you, because geography meant rivers and would enable trade, and therefore, cities and countries would thrive. Now, connectivity is the same thing. We have to have connectivity in India, in our villages, as well as make sure that our urban cities have dense connectivity availability. So here also, the ask is, whoever can contribute, we need to make sure we have 5G, because all of the AI, all of the data analysts, all of the growth that we are talking about is only limited unless we have the ability of connectivity. Memory, I already talked about. Blockchain is critical. However, blockchain has some disadvantages because it's extremely energy hungry. It's extremely expensive. Why? Because only now we have started using blockchain with our digital currencies, with Ethereum, with Bitcoin, and whatever have you. Even blockchain is not new. Blockchain solution actually originated during the World War II with Byzantine general's problem, where he said, oh, I have my army 4 or 5 different places. How do I attack together? So a lot of this, work process problems have been existing, but the use case is happening now. Only when the use case scales does the technology scale and become cheaper and more affordable. That's the problem with blockchain today. And that's why we need to work on. Quantum compute. I know China has been doing 90 miles is what they have transmitted their quantum particle with exact kind of characteristics. I think that is a technology that we need to invest in as distance and time becomes prime important for customer use case. You want movie to be downloaded instantly. Quantum internet will enable you to do it. Energy. Clean energy is very, very important. Genomics. I really liked the theme of ISA today, this event. Intelligent electronics. Anything that we manufacture tomorrow has to be intelligent. Whether it's in the finance space, whether it's in the health space, or in the mobility space, even cosmetics need to be smart. So anything has to be intelligent, because today our electronics, our software is enabling whatever we make to be intelligent. We want to augment anything we use with intellect. Drones is another thing. We have partnered with Government of Maharashtra, and we are doing a few things. I'm not at the liberty of telling you the details, but I'm very excited how I see some of the states in our country are so much more progressive in their thought and are thinking of technology few years ahead. I actually just recently tweeted, and I didn't realize that people are going to like it so much. There is something called Amara's Law. Amara's laws say that we often think of technology in the short term. Hey, how is it going to make money for me next 2 years? But we seldom think about technology longer term. Every time, whether it was invention of coal as a source of energy, people were worried that if we start using coal, then more people will start burning coal than needed. And that's what's called Jevons paradox. Now people are saying, oh, machine learning. Let's not, it's going to invade my privacy, it's going to change, it's going to take up everything I have. Every technology has its pros and cons. We work on the pros and we protect ourselves from the cons. So we need to be thinking AI, ML, blockchain, quantum physics as a technology for the future. And in some cases, the future is very early, as soon as like a couple of years. In order to be able to do all of this technology, what is important is, do we have the capability? My thought is, India fundamentally has it. What may need for us in this room and whoever else is to drive some reskilling. Like I'll tell you, I just spoke with my son, who is an economics and computer science major, works for Goldman Sachs. And I'm saying, Rohan, you know statistics so well. You know programming. Why don't you look at AI, ML, and leverage it for your data analytics? He's saying, Ma, I've never done ML. It's all about making sure we train our people to the newer technology, leveraging the fundamentals that they have learned. As a result, academia needs to look at, how do we have trainings more geared towards what ML AI requirement is now. What is the requirement for blockchain? What are some of the challenges? How do we address that? I really believe, I have spent 26 years in Intel, first 13 as a technologist, last 13 as a manager. And I will tell you honestly, a manager has to identify a problem. There are so many smart people who will go solve it. I have not come across any problem that came to my mind that my Intel engineers could not solve. So what we need to do is identify some of these challenges and have our academia, our trainers, look at building that. I have created, thanks to JC, I don't know where JC is, he's driving that. We have something called Data Centric Skills Academy in Intel. My goal is, my entire Intel India population, and that's in several thousands, guys, very large thousands, every single one of them will be trained on level 1 AI/ML. Few of them on level 2 AI/ML, few of them on level 3 AI. Everybody who's level 3 AI/ML has to show me one use case valuable for Intel and valuable for India, and so on. We are looking at blockchain as the second one. We are looking at security and therefore blockchain as how do we train each and every one of them. It's not just Intel. We have also signed up to train AI/ML externally. I believe we started with a goal of 15,000, but we've trained 99,000 people over the last year on AI/ML. My ask is, anybody who has the capability, we need to make sure as many people as we can reach, train people. I also believe collaboration is essential. I already mentioned this to some extent. As an MNC, I have different expertise. As METI has different expertise. Academia has different. STPI has different. Startups have different. What we need today is all of us to come together. We have to build a vision larger than us. And therefore, the collaboration is absolutely essential. The third thing is women. Everybody, 13.6 trillion, if I remember exactly, is the additional GDP that the world can see if women come to the force or are paid at the same level. I would like to request the women in this forum to just stand up, and I would really like to clap with the women who are here in this IESA forum celebrating this event with us today. So please stand up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Krishna, for being here. Thank you very much. I still see very few, 500 people, and I saw some, maybe less than 50 women. Let's encourage more women. JC again has initiated an effort from Intel India, but we have large number of partners already. We're calling it WISE. Women for women driving innovation, invention, and social entrepreneurship. We also have created a framework called WISE Ready. And it's pun intended, it's wiser. WISE Ready is a qualification criteria for companies to say they are wiser. And we have a whole bunch of categories for women for encouraging, enabling innovation, invention, and social entrepreneurship. And our goal is each company that is partnering with us will have a certification of WISE Ready, gold, silver, platinum, whatever have you. And the intent is for them to grow. The intent is to bring the 13.6 trillion to the world economy. I also believe we need to encourage talent immigration. Wherever, whether it's Indian, non-Indian, if you believe that there's some smart person missing in a venture you're driving, bring that person in. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to create that kind of intellectual pool. And I have been fortunate that Intel Global has many, many Indians, very many bright Indians who are wanting to relocate back to India, because now I'm offering in Intel India the cutting edge work that will actually satisfy their intellectual curiosity. The last thing, and very important, guys, is we have to look at solving big problems. I hear so many things. I have this COE, I have this innovation lab, I have this, I have that, I have this, that. What I feel we need to do is come together. All of that is wonderful. We need all of those little efforts. But all those little efforts need to go towards solving a big visionary problem. And I'm really hoping that a consortium like this could help create that big problem that we as a group can solve. When I look at the global CEOs, there's no dearth of Indian representing global companies. Why can't we think for India and think big, is my ask. The other thing, I believe we need to work in tandem with the government, completely aligned. Government has its expertise, but not where you have. Why I have so many issues, I already told you, I'm biased. And I proudly admit, I hate it when the blame always goes, the government did this, the government did this, government is not fixing the pothole, the government is... What are we doing? There is so much might in togetherness, and therefore I believe that it's time for us to work so perfectly in tandem with the government. 5G. What are the requirements? What is the spectrum requirement? Here is an urban city. What is different in an urban city in India versus United States? Here is my rural city. Very different requirements. Does the standard meet our requirements? If yes, great. Don't unnecessarily change the global standard when you don't need to. But if there is a need, bring yourself to the table and say, this is the need that the standards has to address for India. Those are the kind of help that we need to provide to the government. AI needs so much of ethical and regulatory requirements. Like I'll tell you one example from BMW. Intel works very closely with BMW. BMW says, if I am in an autonomous car, and by the way, I'm not proposing autonomous car for India. What I'm working on in the AI space for smart mobility is avoiding road accidents, enabling cars to help with traffic management, all of those kind of things which are problems for our country. However, this is what BMW says. Anybody sitting in my car is the most important. And if I'm in a situation where I'm meeting an accident, I will save my people sitting in BMW, number one. Some other country may think another thing. Some other country may think if the little children are crossing the road, they're my priority to save, number one. So all of those ethical policy regulatory requirements we have to look at. Green energy. I can't emphasize enough. Environment needs green energy. We need to work towards whether, my product is not energy product, but I can assure you, come to Intel, we are perfectly green. We have Bloom, we have solar. Anything where we can create smartness for energy, we have it. Drones, so a lot of policies, etc., we need to be influencing. The last thing, and I'm really glad Meti is here. I'm very proud to tell you that even though this effort started small, but I'm very happy and excited to tell you that in Kerala, we partnered with the Kerala government. We created a consortium, a group of companies, Keltronics, Intel, few other companies, and government, for a captive demand of government laptops and desktops. We have manufactured in-house in Kerala laptops and desktops. We recently just announced Coconex is the product, and I'm very happy. However, it's a very small effort. What we need to do is work together. All of you here can partner together and create the scale. What will this do for the country? It will make India the manufacturing hub for the smart electronics that you talked about, whether it's phones. I already see a lot in Noida. Laptops, desktops, servers. With the amount of digitization, do you even know, imagine how much storage servers will be required, how much analytics will be required. We need to work together to enable manufacturing out of India. And we need to work together, because when I say smart manufacturing, when I say electronics, imagine the components, the capacitors, the resistors, the PCB. How many things go onto a PCB? We need an ecosystem. Many of you could come together and help us drive this big time. I can do it small as Intel, but when we work together, we can drive scale for the country, for the world. Memory is another. I told you that digital revolution will require storage. I have worked in Karnataka to build memory modules. Similarly, phones, cars, drones. Drones is something that I'm also working on. But it is absolutely essential to look at how can we drive scale in India. It is fantastic that you have so many startups, you have so many COEs, you have this, you have that. All of them, to me, are sitting in the bottom line. What is the top line? How can we come together? That's what we need to solve. And we need to think big. Each one of us. There was a time, I honestly will tell you, I didn't have in me to think big, even for Intel. I used to think, oh my gosh, there's so many senior people. They will be thinking, till something happened. And I said, no, I'm going to think for Intel. I'm going to think for Intel India. I'm going to think for India. I'm as smart as the smart people sitting in United States. Why am I always looking for them? Hand me down the instructions. That change, and now, honestly, I'll tell you, I may not be the smartest person around. I may not be the most experienced person around, but I'll tell you, I dream big. And I believe that Intel India, I will, whether it is small, but I will make a difference for Intel and for India. My goal is bigger than me. My goal is bigger than Intel. My big goal is India and the world. Thank you. I'm going to finish with, we already have a very large ecosystem. I heard, our eminent chief guest call out about a startup ecosystem. But one thing that I feel is when I look at the startups created by Israel, India and Israel are almost the same. But Bangalore alone is the population of Israel. My dream is for Bangalore to have as many intelligent electronic startup as Israel. And then India will be so many more times. 10 million population in Israel. And therefore, I urge, while AI may seem like a complex thing for you to build a system, to build an algorithm, but AI use cases for creating business, anybody can think of. I was asking my mom, she's going to be 70 years old. I was thinking, think of a very big problem area for you where, there is so much data and you want to leverage other people's intellect. I'm telling you, she came up with a few really smart ideas on how, it was not something new, but at least she thought. She said, Neelu, I'm really tired of reading so many emails and most of them are junk. Can you build an AI-based system that deletes all my junk mail and leaves me with the one mail that is 250th, which is coming from you? So, she is an English literature graduate who graduated in the 1960s thinking. So anybody can think. And therefore, remember that AI has two areas: building AI solution and using AI solutions. And we need to do both with the ecosystem we have. I want to finish with a story. It's actually a biology story. Everybody knows we have genes, we have DNAs, we have chromosomes. Do you know that on top and bottom of a chromosome, there is something called telomere? Pardon me my pronunciation, some people may call it telomere or something, but it is T-E-L-O-M-E-R. Can I tell you, people that are risk takers, people who are energetic, people who think big, think for others, have very large telomeres. People who don't, who are not risk takers, who don't think big, who are always, ruminating, lose the telomeres. And I will tell you, what's in it for you and telomeres? Everything boils down to what's in it for me. I will tell you what's in it for you with the telomere. If you have large telomere on the top and the bottom of the chromosome, age, you defy age. In health, and in looks. So think big, think innovative, and grow your telomeres. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for that vision talk. I'd like to request Mr. Veerappan, IESA Executive Council and Co-founder and Director, Tessol Semiconductor, to present Nivruti Rai with a small token of our appreciation. And at this point, I'd also like to draw your attention to the fact that IESA this year is donating the cost of the speaker mementos for the event to an orphanage, an NGO called Shishu Mandir, and the amount collected and donated will feed the children for a total of 34 days and will feed 245 children.